Smoke bombs and flares in an away end can make for a striking visual, but nothing burns quite like the déjà vu of a near miss. For the Welsh, a second major championship in succession has been lost to the dramatic agonies of a penalty shootout. Precisely 2 years after they lost to Poland by such means in a playoff for Euro 2024, they were edged by the Bosnians here in pursuit of the World Cup. A skied effort from Brennan Johnson and a saved one off the boot of Nico Williams proved decisive. Instead of a date with the Italians at this ground on Tuesday, they will now have to process a truly galling end to their campaign. The sting for Wales and Craig Bellamy will be considerable, especially as between the 51st and 85th minutes they led and, more often than not, they dominated. What's more, their goal was a 30-yard screamer from Dan James, whose miss in that Polish shootout proved decisive. A redemption story was being written. But then it went wrong, starting with a Bosnian awakening, driven on by an away corner that waved flags and paid no great attention to FIFA directives around pyrotechnics. From pressure came chances and from chances came the sight of Edin Dzeko, 40 years young, rising to nail a free header at the death. Goodness, the fella was briefly part of the same Manchester City squad as Bellamy once upon a time. But how he broke his heart and boiled his blood here, a touchline row between the men in extra time, once Dzeko had been substituted, was merely one example of the bedlam. Indeed, Bellamy had told his players to avoid chaos at all costs, but he, more than anyone, knows that is easier said than done. Alas, it was not to be for him, and yet Bellamy deserves credit for how well he has revived the team, even if this campaign ended in disappointment. He built a side greater than the sum of its parts and, more often than not, it has found a way to thrive in the post-Gareth Bale era, riding a combination of vibes, pace and solid tactics. Bellamy's hope was that such an approach would work again this time. "We're going all out," he had said. "We ain't sitting back." As a mission statement it was clear, uncluttered, but the planning was complicated by key absences. Ben Davies's broken ankle earlier this year meant Bellamy was down a captain, and the more recent loss of Kiefer Moore cost him a solid focal point in attack. Harry Wilson, so effective on the right for Fulham, was rescripted as a false nine. The upshot was that Wales dominated possession in the first half, but their cut-through was limited. Occasionally, Brennan Johnson switched to the central role, as did David Brooks, and none of it offered an answer. Too often, Wales lacked wit in the final third. A notable exception was Wilson who, in keeping with his work at Fulham this season, was the source of their best moments. The closest of them was a 22nd-minute strike that bent around Nikola Vasilje and rebounded off the post. The rest of the Welsh surges crashed against the rocks of a physically huge Bosnian defence. They were a white wall in red country, but even walls are vulnerable to rockets.